If you're in your 50s like me, and maybe your kids have moved out, or maybe they're still at home, but they've got their own lives now and they don't really need you the way they used to, I want to ask you something that took me far too long to ask myself. When was the last time you did something just for you? Is there a someday list in your head that you've been putting off? Or are you still waiting for life to settle down a bit, telling yourself that then it will be your turn? What if these are the years where you finally do the things you keep putting off? Where you become a version of yourself you've almost forgotten under all the responsibilities of everyday life? Hi, I'm Linda and welcome to More Time to Be. On this channel, I want to talk about making the most of your healthy years, the travel, the big decisions, the things we keep putting off, and what happens when we finally stop waiting. I'm 53 and I live in Brisbane. I've been married to my husband Chris for 27 years and we've got 3 wonderful grown-up kids. And I'm completely new to this YouTube thing. So if this first video is a little rough around the edges, I hope you'll bear with me. One of my favourite sayings is that practice makes progress, not perfection. So hopefully each video will be an improvement on the last. I've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel for a while now, but like many things, I kept putting it off because I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to say or whether anyone would be interested or whether I'd be any good at it. And honestly, that's kind of the whole reason I'm finally doing it. It's time to try something I'm not good at and not worry about what other people will think. One of the big advantages of getting older is that you care less about other people's opinions, and it's time to take advantage of that. I've spent a lot of my life waiting until things felt right before I started them. And I've been thinking lately about what I've missed out on because of that, and asking myself, what exactly am I waiting for? I really don't need anyone's approval anymore, but that kind of thinking has become a habit. There are things in my life I was always going to get to and just never did. And now I'm finding a guilt that comes with that, the sense that I keep letting the things that matter to me slide to the bottom of the list. So on this channel, I want to talk about this stage of life, being in your 50s, heading towards retirement, or maybe you're already there, and what it actually looks like to make the most of it. Not in a hyped up, inspirational, live your best life kind of way. Just conversations about the things I'm thinking about and what I'm doing. Travel, creativity, cooking, slowing down in some areas and deliberately speeding up in others. Figuring out what actually matters now that the really busy years have eased up a little. Chris and I ran a transport business for most of our life together. It had grown to a size that was just exhausting. We wound it back a few years ago to something much smaller, and we finally had time to breathe. Time I wasn't entirely sure what to do with at first. You get so used to living life at a fast pace, and slowing down isn't always as simple as it sounds. Now, I'm not talking about this from the far side of it like I've got it all figured out. Right now, I've just started 6 months of leave from my job. I'm right in the middle of doing the exact thing I'm talking about. Clearing the space to actually live these years rather than just plan for them. So I'm learning this alongside you in real time. I've also started noticing that a lot of people our age are in a similar position, and there isn't a huge amount of real conversation about what that actually feels like. So that's what I want this to be. I've called this channel More Time to Be, and what I mean by that is more time to be whoever you really are, underneath all the roles and responsibilities. More time to be relaxed, creative, adventurous, curious, or just be still for once without feeling guilty about it. For some of us, that looks like travel. For others, it's reading, cooking, painting, fishing, a long lunch with no agenda, or taking an afternoon nap. It's not really about the activity. It's about finally taking the time to be the person you actually want to be, doing the things that actually matter to you. A friend introduced me to a book called Die with Zero by Bill Perkins, and it opened up some real conversations about what retirement might look like and how to prepare for it. It got me thinking about the idea of the healthy years window, the period of life when you're still well enough and free enough to do the things that genuinely require energy and time and a healthy body. Here's the thing most of us believe, that retirement is mainly a financial question. Save enough and the rest will take care of itself. But I've come to think that that's only half the picture. Because all the money in the world doesn't help you if you've run out of healthy, capable years to actually enjoy it. We plan so carefully for the money, but we don't nearly as often stop to ask, how many good, active years do I actually have left, and what do I want to do with them? What, when, and with who? We spend years planning the first season of our lives, starting a career, finding a partner, buying a house, having kids, then the endless music lessons, ballet, sport, getting the kids through school and university. But we tend not to think much about the next 30 years until they've already arrived. That gap between planning for retirement and actually living meaningfully through the transition, that's what I keep coming back to, and it's what this whole channel is really about. And the thing I've found is that this isn't just something to think about like some far-off idea. You can actually plan for your healthy years, deliberately, the same way you'd plan your finances. There's a way to think it through, to work out what matters most and when it needs to happen. So on this channel, I'm not going to just share ideas worth thinking about. I'll also share, here's how you actually do it. But I'm not going to leave you with just a nice idea to think about. So let me give you the question that started all of this for me. It's uncomfortable, but it's worth sitting with. How many good, active years do you honestly think you have left? And what's the one thing you'd most regret not doing with them? For me, I'd say I've got about 15 years of properly active travel left. And what I'd most regret not doing is the adventurous stuff. Antarctica or walking the Camino in Spain. Those aren't things you do at 80. So if I've got 15 years, that's not someday, that's a deadline. It doesn't have to be a long list, just one thing. Sit with that this week, because once you've named it, it gets a lot harder to keep pretending it can wait. What I'd like to get out of these videos is a chance to connect with others in the same situation. The opportunity to do something new and pretty scary. Some accountability to actually follow through on the ideas. And hopefully someone out there might find it useful. I'm not here as someone with all the answers. I've just thought about this a lot lately and now I'm actually doing it. And I hope you join me as I figure out the rest. So if you're in your 50s or 60s and you're thinking about what the next chapter of your life looks like, or how to actually use the time you're starting to get back, I think you might like it here. And I'd love to hear from you, wherever you are in this journey. Maybe you're right in the thick of the busy years and this all feels a long way off. Maybe you're standing right at the edge of this next chapter like I am. Or maybe you're further down the road and you've got things that you could teach me. Wherever you're at, please leave me a comment and let me know. I'd love to talk about things that really mean something to you. If any of this resonates with you, if you've always put yourself at the back of the queue, I really encourage you to take a few minutes to do a quick check-in quiz. It's free and there's a link in the description below. It's a really good place to begin if you're ready to look honestly at where you're at and whether there might be some changes you might be ready for. In my next video, I want to tell you about the time Chris and I found a half-price luxury cruise leaving from Barcelona and very nearly talked ourselves out of the best trip we've ever taken. For the silliest reasons. The timing was wrong. It felt indulgent. I worried what people would think. I'll tell you what changed our minds and the 4 things that decision taught me about why we keep saying no to the things we want most. I think you'll recognize yourself in it. So, thanks for watching, and I'd love to see you in the next video.